are Fleck, Rhodes, and Spears, and we are Supremely Black. How y'all doing this week, fellas?
Doing good. Can't complain, man. Can't complain. Just waiting on this tour and this lineup of shows to kick off. Man, got a chance to hang out with my nephews and my niece this weekend. Had a good time with them out the park, wore them down because it was super hot. So about 2.5 hours, they was good and wore down. So, but we had a good time out there hanging out and chilling with them, man. The football season about to start, so I'm getting excited. Won some money off the fight, not on the overall winner, but on another one, so on another technical. So I take that. So the week has been good. I can't complain.
That's solid. I know them boys in Ayana, boy. I know you had your hands full with them, so I know for a fact you got your money's worth and some energy spent. Everything been solid with me, man. I went back home for my birthday or whatever and kicked it. You could tell by my voice. Still trying to shake back from that. So, I can't complain, though. So another 32 years around the globe. So everything good. How's everything with you, Spirit?
Oh, shit. Happy belated birthday, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Happy belated birthday. Came in town, didn't he holler his uncle though, but it's cool.
Everything good with me. Everything good with me. Just grinding. Everything good with me. So ain't no complaints over here. All is well. All is well. This week, we're gonna have a little check-in, tap in, see how everybody doing mentally. We do that once or twice a year or so, just to check in with each other, see how we doing, how things are going amongst ourselves and everything. Let our supporters know that we are humans and we are just like them, so we go through stuff just like them and like the rest of the folks in the world. So fellas, what's on your mind this week? What's on your mind?
Florida. And us as Black Americans, what we gonna do about, as the original Americans, what we gonna do about what's going on in places like Florida? I don't think this is gonna be the only place that's gonna pop out in. I think it's a place just starting, and I think they're gonna see how it's gonna go and what's gonna be the repercussions of that. And if it ain't none, I believe it's gonna be whitewashed even more. It just reminded me of, when they started doing the studies in the pyramids and stuff like that, when they started letting people go in, and Richard Pryor, old school comedian for the young folks, and stated he had went over there and seen them painting in the pyramids, and they was painting the dark people light. So it's basically they whitewashing down in Florida of what Jim Crow was like, what slavery was like, especially with this crazy one they just put out talking about that what the slaves was doing, provided them tools to help them out in the future. Like how? They talking like slavery wasn't that bad. They had housing, they had clothing, they had healthcare. Healthcare include killing you when you that sick where you can't work no more. Because that's basically what was happening. Kids was getting killed. They was doing all type of things. They was whipping. They was causing injuries and wasn't preparing the injury. Like you would, what healthcare are they talking about? That was the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. They had healthcare. What? After you beat them, they go back and the wife fix them up, grandmama fix them up. That's the healthcare we talking about. That's how we got the home. Black folks got their home remedies now due to times like that. Wasn't no healthcare. It was us being innovators and figuring out what plant-based medicine worked, or what combinations of plants work for healing medicine that we came about. So Florida has been on my mind. Ron DeSantis has got to get out of here, man. He ruined it for everybody. I would say, as the NAACP said, as Black people, it's a no-fly zone. Don't come to Florida. But at the same time, when you hit certain parts of Florida, it's a lot of Black-owned business. There's a lot of things that's going on as Black people in that area, And if you ask me, that's what they want to do. The Alphas took their convention out of there, which I praised it at first, but I said to myself, well, it's probably what they wanted to happen. You know, one thing is, you know, black folks might got to connect with Disney. Disney got an issue with Ron. Black folks got an issue with Ron. We might need to get connected with Disney because that's what's gonna really hurt Florida pockets when Disney get to taking away funding, closing down stuff, and that's a lot of Florida money dealing with Disney. But yeah, Florida's been on my mind, and that craziness and that bullshit that's been going on.
I think the crazy part about it is though with DeSantis, he's already going to war with Disney, and I really don't think with him having the control that he got, they can really do too much. To be for real with you, Disney's not gonna come out of Florida. Ron DeSantis knows that, and I think they're just gonna keep going back and forth with it. I think the crazy part about it is that a lot of athletes come out of Florida, so if that shifted, I think that would make the politicians make everything change. Like if they really lose a dollar behind football, because honestly, a lot of them cities like Gainesville, Tallahassee, that's all they got is sports. To even keep the city afloat, and the only reason why people would even come through there. And you got to think about like the beaches and stuff like that. It makes it hard, but you know, it's kind of hard to put it as a no-fly zone when I mean, there's so many things that has to go on and still gonna go on. I mean, I don't agree with him by all means. I don't even understand where he's even thinking that how that would be appealing with Florida being so diverse. But you know, that's something legit. But I just think that it would take billions of dollars to be lost outside of Disney before him or his supporters to realize of how impactful it is to Florida economy. But Disney, he can go back and forth with because they kind of restricted due to his control, honestly.
Well, in reference to that, Disney got a new president. I don't know, a couple years back or whatever the case may be, but at first he couldn't touch Disney because Disney is like it's not a sovereign state, but it's like its own entity in Florida or whatever, and they got their own jurisdiction, their own, you know, set of rules and stuff like that. And the old president wasn't fooling around with DeSantis or the politicians and constructed Disney as it is a separate entity. However, this new president has I don't know if he threw in the towel. I don't know if he's a supporter of DeSantis or whatnot, but he's complied to some of DeSantis's his agendas and narratives and things that he's trying to do, and he's given DeSantis some power inside of Disney, which he wouldn't have had if the president of Disney didn't openly give it to him. So to back what you said, Rose, I don't see Disney now being a factor that can really change some things as far as Florida goes and how they're deciding to govern the state now. I will say though that nothing surprises me anymore in the state that we live in, the country that we live in, but in the state of just the state of being that we live in as a world, as a nation. And so I'm really not upset by what DeSantis is doing. I'm kind of, I wouldn't say happy, but I'm kind of like, okay, thank you for showing your hand. Thank you for letting us know what you're trying to do. Thank you for hopefully empowering more people to educate themselves in whatever aspect it is, so then they could be prepared for whatever is to come. So I'm kind of glad that he is showing his hand and he's being a outward racist, but I don't know exactly what it will take for Florida to stop some of the things that he's doing. So I mean, that's just gonna take time to see. We got to see how it plays out, how it irons out. We got to see if there's going to be a rebellion or opposition towards him, more so than just, you know, headlines and clippings and stuff, if there's actually going to be somebody who steps up. And I'm not talking about physically or anything. I'm just talking about like in within the guidelines of legislation and things like that, and who's going to really put something on his ass, so to speak, to make him feel that pressure and make him sweat. But yeah, for Florida's wild right now. Florida is wild.
Yeah, hard to make the no-fly zone when, you know, they out of Miami looking for the hoochie daddies. You hear me? But hey, but to your point, Spears, that's how most of Florida feel. Like most people, when they think of Florida, they think Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Miami, and then you got with Panama City. But when you, and most of Panama City feel this way too, by the way. When you get to the north and central Florida, that's about how all of them feel anyway. For real, for real. And like D-Rose said, most of them cities, they ain't got nothing like Tallahassee, Gainesville, they ain't got nothing but the college football. Outside of that, man, that whole city go belly up.
Well, football does produce the most, but the saving grace for both of them, if Black people stop going in the schools, the football programs start dwindling, the saving grace for them is the college towns. So they got the universities there. So they'll still make money even outside of football because of the university. But yeah, I mean, ain't really too much words for it, because it's like it's just crazy. It's 2023 and we got a man saying racism was good, and they brought us here to save us.
Slavery.
Slavery
was good.
Yeah, slavery was good. My fault.
Yeah.
Slavery was good, and they brought us here to save us, and they taught us what we know. No, y'all didn't know how to do shit. Y'all needed us.
If we go back in history, we all know Europe was a goddamn pigsty. They ain't know how to take showers. They was sleeping with the animals. They was doing all type of crazy, all type of diseases. And when they got to the United States, they didn't know, well, they the United States at that time. When they got to this part of the world, they didn't have a clue on what to do then either, as well. If we want to keep it all the way real about it.
All right, so that was a good call out with Florida. Here's my question. This is what's kind of been, I was thinking about this on the ride home, man. When we went through COVID, we had to shut down. People really couldn't move around, really couldn't do what they wanted to do. Do you think, and this is of course, hypothetical question, do you think that people would value themselves, the people that surround them, even more if we had none or limited access to social media and cell phones for the same duration that we had with the initial scare of COVID, where people couldn't do nothing, you couldn't travel, you couldn't do X, Y, and Z? But do you think that would actually change the way that people look at stuff and just overall communicate? Because and the reason why I phrased that question is because I felt like COVID made you realize of what was going on around you and the people that you actually could have fun with, regardless of what's the outside. I think that the internet has really changed the way people operate, move, communicate, and things like that. And just being home over the weekend and to not see kids outside playing and it's dead in the summer was just crazy. And everybody you would talk to would be like, they got them cell phone. That's crazy to me. Like, we'd be outside in heat advisory, we wouldn't care about nothing, running off of some fountain water or something, like whatever, your water hose, maybe some Kool-Aid if your partner had something in the hood. It's just, do you think that would help for a world and mind reset if we actually got the scare that everybody keeps talking about without any internet or personal use of internet, if we were limited like some countries are?
Most definitely. I mean, you talking about somebody who grew up with no cell phone, no internet, none of that. So I've been a part of both worlds. I'd be surprised myself when I ride through the neighborhood or go outside and walking, and I see a group of kids out walking around or whatnot, riding like four-wheelers and this, that, and other. I'm surprised. I'd be surprised, but it does happen during the summertime while the kids are out. Weekend come around, you will see kids out walking around. Sometimes, I'm gonna say all the time, and you see them riding their four-wheelers, taking each other back and forth to the corner store, down the street, this, that, and other. And I like it. I enjoy it myself. I think it will. I think we do need it. To be honest with you, I think we do. I think we do need that type of reset of not having it, having limited internet. And you will see how people will be getting out more and doing more things outside. And you know, the family dinners that used to happen on Sundays will probably come back more often than what they used to. Not saying they still don't happen, but it used to be every Sunday. Now it's like once every couple of months or whatever. Like my family and I just had a event on my dad's side last month, and it was basically one of your younger kids, matter of fact, would surprise me, just graduated high school. Shout out to Justice. And he was like, hey, can we just have a family gathering like we used to? And then everybody just met up at the park, grilled out. Everybody, you know, brought whatever dish they was gonna bring and pops and everything else. And I mean, we sat there, played games and talked and chilled, and we had us a good time. Nobody was really on their phone except to take pictures. Really, outside of that, everybody was up talking to each other and you know, playing games and having fun. So I think we do need a little check like that, you know, maybe do some limitations like that. Of course, folks, the problem gonna be is don't nobody have a home phone no more. So it'd be, hey, don't limit me to at least I get my emergencies if it's an emergency going. But we had this time, it's the smartphone. Because when cell phones first came out, man, we could just text and call. So you still was, you know, meeting up and hanging out and doing all that. It's really, as the phones got smarter, people got dumb.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my thought on that. But what's your thought, Spirit?
I don't think it will do us any good. And I think it will, a lot of people are making their money and feeding their families off of social media now these days, or off of the internet, the World Wide Web, and all of that other stuff. So if we reverted back to times before it became a norm, or we reverted to what other countries are doing, I think it will hurt our economy, one, because of how America is set up and built. We're capitalists, you know, we're big on entertainment industry and all of that other stuff. So then therefore, because we don't produce a lot of our own anymore in the nation, the economy will take a major hit and dip, one. Two, I think it will be an uptick in crime because a lot of people don't know what to do now without a phone in their hand or without the social media or going to this stuff and everything. So even still, if you had to spend time in your house without anything, I think people, so to speak, mental illness, they would go crazy. They would go stir crazy. They would lose their minds. They would be fussing and fighting. There would be more kick doors and all this other stuff because people aren't doing what they're used to or aren't being able to live the lifestyle that they have been able to live because of certain things. So I don't think that it would be a good idea for the masses as a whole nation. Now, I do think that it is important for certain individuals and certain family dynamics and structures, because if you do have a upbringing or a basis or a foundation that I know all three of us brothers have, as far as being very family oriented and close knit and all that other stuff. Yes, to implement that back into your core, into the young people, into the youth of your family, yes, that would do good. To show them how to use their hands, you know, changing oil on a car, you know, changing tires, just different things like that. I think that would be good for family structures like ours. But as far as the whole nation, no, when so many people rely on internet or social media to make their ends and really feeding their families. We have multimillionaires and multi-million people. When I talk about multi-million, this time I'm talking about people making money who became multi-millionaires from the infrastructure that we have set up now. So
Yeah, I get that. I would say this, like when COVID interrupted everything, I think everybody had to learn how to pivot and make it do what it had to do. Grocery stores had to adapt. I think it just made everybody actually think for a second, because I feel like we've become so reliant upon this system that is due to fail at any time, and we could just see the signs of it from even with our economic system right now. And I get that people are making money off of it and things like that, but I don't think it would be more of an uptick in violence. I don't think anything. I really think that people would truthfully have to tap into themselves more. And I feel that a lot of the things that they are consuming or absorbing on social media is actually impacting a lot of more people's psyche than what they think. You could just think about it from when you even spoke about your own social media fast, right? Even though your mindset is different from everyone's, of course, but people could actually benefit from that, because without being able to detach, you're always attached to it. And if you're not mentally capable enough to be able to navigate through that, you could be led astray just by absorbing too much of whatever it is on social media or your phone. And I just think that as things would uptick, it would start to balance out, because people would realize a lot of that mindset came from looking at, oh, I see this couple over here, they just doing the best. Come to find out, they really ain't doing shit. COVID made you think of that. Like, all these people thought they really had money. You really didn't when your motion stopped, but you pivoted now. If you back on top and know how to navigate, you cool. I just think that, to me, outside of the money aspect of it, a lot of people have a false notion of what's really going on from a social media lens, and taking that away from people will actually help people, to me, understand who they truthfully are, not what the world has put out there for them to absorb, or whatever algorithm they got caught in that has them distracted and destroyed for themselves. Because back in the day, we didn't have all that, and you didn't really know that you wasn't poor until we got older and be like, damn, that was 12 people staying in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. Never knew it till you get old and start going around. And so it's just like those type of things. It's like everything's so fabricated and fake. I think social media being a way, honestly, outside of the money aspect of it, would really truthfully bring people to who they are. And when they come back like COVID, it's the hustlers gonna hustle. They're gonna find a way to eat. But I think it would be a good cleanse, honestly. That's my little what was been on my mind.
and I agree with what you said, but the thing is, we didn't know what we didn't know. So like when you use the example of 12 people living in a house and you didn't realize you was poor, we didn't know what we didn't know. Now people, and again, I agree with you, social media is fabricated and people believe that this is real, but now people don't even know how to hold conversations anymore. People don't even know how to really spell anymore because they use their phone. People don't even remember probably nothing but one phone number anymore to call somebody. So like things of that nature. People don't know how to probably read, write, and they don't know themselves. So when we take fasts, when we do stuff, we do it because we know there's a deeper source to who we are. A lot of these people don't know who they are to tap in with themselves. So when something is taken away from them versus a choice that they choose to do, they're gonna lose their mind, because at the end of the day, it wasn't something that they chose. It was something that's being forced upon them to do. And so it's like, damn, I don't even know myself. How am I gonna learn myself? My family, my friends don't even want to fool with me because I'm not big so and so on social media. I'm
That's
not
over with though. That would be
no,
over with.
no, but then what do? If y'all ain't had a real conversation in years, what's gonna make you say, "Oh, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna have a conversation with Rose and all this other stuff"? You gonna be. I don't even like this nigga. I like the only thing that I know is we could be living in the same house, or we could be separate, or whatever the case may be. Because I don't know if you talk about from family structure or you just talk about individuals. But the thing is, I don't even know how to communicate with you, Rose. Because
Yeah, I mean, but I think
on social
people,
media. So now how do I communicate? I don't know what you like. I don't know your favorite color. I don't know if you got any siblings. All I know is what you post on whatchamacallit. And I know this ain't you, but popping bottles, having fun, partying, big money maker and all this other stuff. I don't know nothing outside of material things about you.
but that's my point though, because if you put that phone down, you get off and you talk about, okay, the moment your phone charging up, you ain't got your phone. Oh, I'm depressed, I'm blah, blah, blah. But you're living and seeing other things that are just distracting you. But in reality, you want to be the person that you're looking at. So if you eliminate that, y'all both even. Like everybody thought that, to me, I've never just been an idol worshiper because I was just raised around people that just didn't do that. But everybody thought these celebrities were so big, so they had to turn on their phone just like them to start going live to entertain people without them being, I paid $150 for your ticket. That made a lot of people mentally switch to say, hold on, Boosie, just like your damn uncle that you see talking shit at the party, lit, drunk. That was it. It made people really realize, like, bruh, everybody can go out here and get it the same way. It put what they consider celebrities back in the regular people bucket. I think the mental shift would do it right, because everything you're saying, even though you're saying you wouldn't agree, that's all the issues that's going on in the world right now. Like, people don't know themselves. People don't know how to deal with family that they live with. All because we have a phone that's in our hand that can be a distraction. That's the issue. That ain't gonna be fixed because we still have the dope in our hand. You take the dope away, then you might have a few of them just don't go crazy. Cool. That's process of elimination. But if people started to actually shift how they was thinking, a lot of those things you're saying, oh, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. That's when it comes down to real shit that we got to get done, don't nobody know nothing. But everybody wants something fixed because they're so emotionally attached.
Somebody got to teach them how to shift their mindset. Because if you don't have somebody to teach you, you're not going to know how to do it on your own. And that's how brainwashed we are as a society. If there's not somebody to teach you something, you're just going to be left there without.
Who taught us how to get through COVID?
What you mean taught us how to get through COVID? COVID didn't do nothing but shut stores down and keep us separate from people. But it didn't shut the internet down. It didn't shut a lot of shit down. All it did was kept us, some people, because Atlanta didn't shut down, certain places, but it kept certain people away from each other. But that's all it did. It didn't stop the world as we know it. All it did was show businesses, oh, we can make money with less hours. We could do this with whatever we call it. The only industry that it really hurt was the food industry. If we're being honest, that's really the biggest industry that it hurt, was the food and the waiters and waitresses industry and all of that other stuff.
I think entertainment industry got hit
stores too. It hurt retail stores too. It's a lot of retail stores that had to close because people moved to ordering online instead of actually going into the store.
I mean, but that was the way the world. That was shifting.
That was coming anyway.
COVID. Yeah, that was shifting before COVID.
Yeah,
I'm saying not as bad as COVID made it happen.
Drop shipments was on the rise before COVID.
I know it was on the rise, but COVID really shut, stores really was like, hey, we couldn't survive COVID. So
no, but besides the small business, that's better for the stores because a lot of them don't want to pay that brick and mortar for the lights, the leases, the rent and all that other stuff. So it actually benefited them. Besides small businesses, besides mom and pop shops, it benefited corporations.
That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about a Target and all that. I ain't talking about Walmart. I'm talking about the small businesses. They had 2 or 3 shops they was running. Them folks ended up closing doors or whatnot because they couldn't survive through COVID because they wasn't one of the Fortune 500s or whatever.
Yeah, but just to close it out so we can go on and get to Spears and we ain't gonna drag it out too much. We might have to touch bases on it again. But my point is, Spears, you're making a legit point where people have to be taught those certain things. However, the reason why I presented it is how that COVID made people impact and we had to shift. We had to start doing different things. Businesses had to start doing different things. If people were faced with those same obligations, I'm pretty sure that would be a bigger outcome of people actually reaching over to have those conversations. Now we don't have to because everybody has a distraction in their hand is what my point is. Everybody could just say, oh, I got this going on. But when you don't, then now what's going on? You really ain't nothing as an uncle. You really ain't nothing as a friend. You really ain't nothing because you have the opportunity now to teach them without them being distracted. What are we going to do now? Because everybody quick to say, oh, okay, well, okay, cool. What we going to do when we're actually putting the opportunity to actually be practical and make the shit happen? It don't really be happening like that because truthfully, everybody looking for an excuse to say, oh, that's just how it is now. Or, you know, that's it.
And I get you, and this will be my last thing on it. I'm gonna use the example as you talked about kids playing outside and everything. We had hella athletes in our time, and I'm talking about all three of our times, even though we got a couple of years in between us through age gaps or whatever, but we had hell of athletes through our time. And the reason for that being is because we were outside. But now because we got kids of a certain generation who already hit a certain age who ain't been outside but let's say a month in their whole lifetime total, ain't been outside but a month in their whole lifetime total, they're not going to be an athlete. So even if we revert back and take things back, them going outside, they're not going to know how to shoot a hoop, play basketball. Yeah, they've seen it on TV, but they don't have an athletic bone in their body because they didn't nurture that skill set from when they was whatchamacallit. So going outside ain't going to do nothing, but they good with them sticks. That's
They
why.
won't-
No,
they won't be fat no more.
You know, you still had the fat kid who was outside all the time with us too. So you never know. It could be genetics.
Very few of genetics. And I got a homeboy, Big Cam, that's probably about like the only one. But rest of them, be real with you. Nah, bro.
But that's because they was running. Well, what they gonna be running? Kids don't know nothing about nigga knocking. So like there's certain games
Okay,
like
so
they don't know about hide and go get it.
these kids need to be tagged and be the one that's running around that's out of shape and can't catch nobody. They need to have a real firework war. They need to have a real water balloon fight. And I promise you, you're going to learn how to survive and realize that I can't go back inside. You're going to be like, hey, I'm going to get right. I might not be fast yet, or I might not be able to get this weight off, but I'm not going to get hit with another water balloon. They're not going to keep tagging me. They're not going to keep hitting me with these fireworks. That's just dead on that because I can't go in the house. That's just all I want to see is just people to go back to. Everybody say they want to see it. We got the phones in our hands, so don't nobody want to make the adjustments. Just make the adjustments with the phone in our hand, and I promise you, you're going to break a lot of these tendencies of what these people think is just, oh, that's just how the new generation is. Now we allow them to be like that. That's just what it is. We giving up and saying, as they got them phones.
I feel you, but I want you to do this. Next time you're around a group of kids, and I ain't talking about your family because I know your family know because
for sure.
That's your family. Ask them, do they know what water balloon fight is?
Yeah.
Ask them if they know what freeze tag is. Ask them if they know what Foursquare is. Ask them if they know. A lot of kids don't know this, and that's what I'm saying. So they're not gonna know what to do when they presented certain things or certain stuff because the government or whoever deems to say, let's take away phones and the internet and social media for what you call it. They're gonna be lost. And the other thing is, a lot of these parents are so into themselves now that they ain't even going. The parents might know about these games, but they ain't even gonna mention them because they so far removed from them too. But that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, we can go on and on.
Hold on, real quick though. Conspiracy got the name of some games. Now, what was y'all favorite playground game when you was younger? Mine used to be, I can't say what we called it, but I think a lot of the world call it, would toss it up tackle.
Throw them up, bust them up. Throw them up, bust them up.
Yeah. Where one person had the football and you going and you trying to score against like 12, 13 people trying to tackle you at one time.
Hold on, that was called no. That's
we can't say it.
Yeah, that's why he said he can't say it. Now you
I don't know about no toss them up, but yeah, I know what we call smear. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That was my favorite. That in 36 was my favorite.
I would I would have to say competitively 36. Just to be in the hood, I go get it for sure. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, we off that now. We got on it. Whatever spirits got me. Hey, 36, I go get it. I'm outside all day, man.
Watch out for Lil D Rose, you know he fast.
But for me, fellas, I wanted to talk about emotional intelligence and then emotional manipulation. And the reason being is because one, the emotional intelligence side, I was talking to my kids and I was telling them that, I want them to be better off than me and do better than me. So there's a lot of things that transpired in my life that where I was in situations where I lacked emotional intelligence. And so now I'm paying for it at age 37. I'm not where I should be because of I reacted to certain situations or responded irrationally or uh, responded just reactionary, just reacting without even thinking because I lacked certain emotional intelligence. So I want to talk about that, and then the other part of that too is emotional manipulation, because a lot of times people will manipulate you emotionally because they want to put their feelings or their emotions over yours, or they want to make this rule be important and count when it applies to them, but when it applies to you, that rule goes out the window. And so I just wanted to see how y'all felt about emotional intelligence and how one, you could still be working through that to even get further along in your emotional intelligence, and then also how do you feel about emotional manipulation and how do you deal with that? Does it affect you and things of that nature?
Hey, I jump right in with the emotional intelligence because we were just having this conversation. I was around my homeboy. I consider him like a brother, and this Pops kind of like a Pops. Just one of them OG guys from around the way that, everybody respected. You know what I'm saying? And we was talking to his nephews and his little boys and stuff. And you got to just think, man. I think with everything that we talking, just that upbringing, and it wasn't for everybody, but just having some good, solid people around you to let you know just how you're supposed to react. It's always good to have emotions, but don't allow them to control you. And I think a lot of people lack it is because they're so emotionally attached to things they can't be logical. So to kind of answer that question, I think it's just we need more people teaching it, and we need more men explaining to them of how it goes about being delivered so that they're not so caught up in it from an emotional standpoint. But emotional manipulation, I think that's a huge one as well, is because I had made a post is that just because you are finding your peace or purpose does not mean that you are right. A lot of times I'm seeing people now that are going through finding themselves and blah, 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 is they will, like you said, they will have something that they are focusing on or trying to better themselves at. And then the moment that you don't do X, Y, and Z, they make it as if that this is just the worst thing that could have ever happened because that is something that they're battling. However, I may not be battling this with you, but you're going to manipulate the situation to benefit what your piece of purpose is bigger and better than anybody else's. And I've seen a lot of people doing it and posting it unknowingly. And I'm just like, just because you finding your peace and purpose does not mean you're going to always be right. We're still growing. We're still learning because there's some things that you may have mastered, that I may have mastered. Some things you're weak at, I may have mastered, and vice versa. But it affects you because I've had to quit actually dealing with people that use that is because it will use it will come from a place to where I hate manipulators. So when people do it, I will correct them and let them know, like, hey, they kind of come off as you're just trying to get over, and it only means so much now because it's you. But when it's somebody else is in them shoes, it's like, oh, okay, you straight, you know what I'm saying? But if you're going through it, all hell got to break loose and the whole world got to feel it. So yeah, it impacts you, and I've had to disconnect from a lot of people from that, and not even people I consider like friends, but just associates. Like I'm really just really cool on that. After I done told you once or twice, I'm really straight. I don't need it. It would never be an explanation, and that's not my pride. But that's really just me being emotionally intelligent enough to realize that I'm never going to get anything out of the situation. And due to you being who you are, you're only going to try to manipulate it to be in your favor, no matter if you're trying to explain it to me or the people that you're cool with for them not to be cool with me. That's it.
As far as the emotional intelligence part goes, it's kind of easy for me because my brother, I've seen him, he couldn't control his emotions a lot of times, he made a lot of mistakes of his emotions, this, that, and the other. So I was able to just sit back and watch and then just learn from that. I do have a hot temper. I can go off the handle, but it's gonna take me a while to get there because I know once I get there, problems can happen. I'm probably gonna say some things, I'm probably gonna do some things, and ain't no telling what happened after that. But just being able to watch somebody go through the issues that they went through in and out of jail, drug problems, this, that, and the other, and you can just sit back and watch that and see what it's taking the family through and see how much money you might lose due to this, or might not be able to get a driver's license, or this, that, and other. Oh yeah, I was able to sit back and just watch and soak it up and say, player, look, you get hot about something, if you need 5 seconds to walk off before you do whatever it's gonna do, man, just think about your actions, because the consequences that come behind it, you know, can be real dangerous, because a 5-minute action can cost you a lot of time that you can't get back, or cost you a lot of money, or extra things that you got to go out of your way to attend this and attend that and do this, and not able to be out past a certain time, or this, that, and being on probation, and you can't even leave the state. And man, it's just way too much. Now, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, protect what you got to protect. But sometimes you got to sit back and think to yourself 5 seconds. All right, if my reaction is this, is it even worth this reaction? Or is it a situation where I can just stop doing what I'm doing or cut this person off, whether it be immediately or sometimes you just slowly cut people off. You know what I mean? Like, you just, instead of talking to them every day, it go to 3 days. Then it go to a week. Then it's 2 weeks. Then it's a month. And you like, I didn't need you in my life. I just slowly got rid of you. So, you know, it's some people that can be manipulators, that once you start seeing and start noticing certain things that you gotta get rid of and do like that. But yeah, for me, it was just simple, sitting back, being able to watch my brother and a couple other family members and mistakes and stuff they made, and be like, nah, buddy, that can't be you. You know what I'm saying? Once you visit, you know, some rehabs and visit county jails and prisons a couple of times, and you see the way they living in there, and you catch that smell and this, that, and other, like, I don't want no part of none of that at all.
And them the lucky ones, because like you didn't mention, but it cost you your life, them 5 minutes of not thinking right either. You feel me? Time is, you know, but everybody ain't that lucky to make it out them situations. Go ahead, Spirit. My fault.
No, you good. I was just gonna say, if I'm being honest, if we was going on a scale of 1 through 10, my emotional intelligence probably like a 6, and I'm just being honest. And so I know I still have a ways to go, but the thing about it is, 1, I could be honest and real with myself and call myself out on it, but 2, I know I have came a long ways from where I used to be, and so that's the beauty of it, is the growth. But there's still some things that I could do a whole lot better, because to Flake's point, when he was talking about, you know, it might take him a lot to get there. It don't take me a lot at all. Like, you do something that I feel is crossing that line, I'm ready to go there on many fronts. So that could be getting active, that could just be cutting you off, that could be cussing you out, that could be whatever the case may be, but I'm ready to go there. And it was something my father told me maybe 3 years ago now, that's always stuck with me ever since he said it. And so since then, that's really when I've been on my journey of gaining and getting better with my emotional intelligence. But what he told me, and I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he was just like, if if a man can say something or do something to you and you react, you're not in control of yourself. And when he said that, I was like, damn, I never thought about that. And I just thought about all the times where I wasn't in control. I didn't have control because the decisions that I made wasn't based off of me. It was based off of somebody else, man, woman, or child saying something, doing something to me, and then I just reacted and I just flew off the handle or whatever the case may be. And everything flying off the handle is not always a negative thing. It could have been broke down in tears or whatever the case may be, but and that was not necessarily what I wanted to do, but that is just what transpired to happen or whatnot. But uh there's been so many times in my life when I go back and think about important moments or why I'm in certain situations that I am where I was like, damn, I wasn't in control. Uh I allowed this person to dictate my circumstance and situation. And so that's something that has really been heavy on my growth journey and everything the past couple of years and whatnot. And so uh it's something that I'm trying to really instill in my children now at an early young age, you know, that emotional intelligence. I think that's one of the most important things outside of spirituality. And then, you know, just being there for your family and everything, but emotional intelligence, because as y'all say, and every time I mentor kids, I tell them the decision that you make today can affect where you are tomorrow. And that's one of the things that I implement heavy on, because choices, we think they easy and they just come and go, but choices can change your whole life, change the trajectory of where you going in this world. And so I just want really people to know that, and also to be honest with people and let them know that I ain't got all the answers myself, and choices I've made have hurt me, choices I've made have helped me, but uh choices definitely impact you. So that emotional intelligence really is something that I pray that everybody works on and sits back and think about, like, damn, have I always had control? Have I always been in control? Is there some ways that I can get better and just work on my emotional intelligence versus always getting in the gym and working on your body? How about you get in the mental gym and work on your mind and your emotional intelligence and how you react to things and how you allow things to affect you. Now, as far as the emotional manipulation, woo, that's one. And so over the past year or so, I've really been on this. Well, no, I'm not even gonna say I've been on this journey. I have really realized how people in my life have wanted me to make decisions that catered to them and that was based on them and that neglected me totally. They wanted me to choose them over me because of the emotional manipulation that they was doing, and how they wanted me to act a certain way, do certain things, talk a certain way, treat them a certain way because it made them feel good, but they didn't care about how it made me or what it did to me, how it hurt me, how it may have stretched me too thin, or how it affected my psyche or my mental or anything like that. And so that's one thing that I've really been focusing on. I'm not allowing people no more to emotionally manipulate me, and I hope none of y'all allow people to emotionally manipulate you. Now, to Rose's point, and he said something that is spot on. You could be on this journey, but that don't mean that it's right. You could be doing things that are for you, but that don't mean that it's right. So I'm not telling you to move a certain way, to do a certain thing, but make sure that you're not the type of person who is asking your circle to do more for you than they do for themselves. And so that's the one thing that I was going to say, because to be honest, we can all be emotionally manipulative at some points and times with the people that we care about or the people that's in our circle. But the big key to that, or the thing to try to stray away from that, is making sure that you're not asking the people around you to do more for you than you're doing for you, than they're doing for themselves. And so that's just all I wanted to talk about and what was on my mind this week.
Hey, that was dope. I appreciate you actually bringing that one to the table, man. And another thing I would like to just kind of add to the emotional part of it is when you start to move in a different way that people are so used to being able to manipulate you in, you're not gonna have to say or do much. They're gonna start to remove themselves because they're gonna realize that they can't move how they used to. And then that's when you just have to use the other part of the emotional intelligence to get ready to deal with the lies and everything else that come up that came out of nowhere. But you know in your head of who or the people that you quit fooling with in that space, and you know why you quit fooling with them like that. That's when the emotional intelligence comes in. And I just got to give a shout out, since we were speaking about it, to Flake, but in the rest of his partners is like my uncles or big brothers that I never had, because I was, you know, it wasn't no such thing to me as emotional intelligence. I was just off the handle the moment you felt like you were disrespecting me. Just, it didn't matter who you was, police, none of that. So Flake didn't get called 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning talking about come get him before he go down. It didn't matter. So I say I like to say this, and I appreciate you, Spirits, for being vulnerable and saying 6. I know for a fact I'm a little bit better than that. I've gotten better, but it really came from just being around grounded men that really walk and talk exactly how they display themselves. And that makes you get on your shit in regards to their space more, is because they're not even really putting themselves in predicaments to where they would have to be overly emotional, because they've already see the signs and they just stay away from them type people anyway in situations. So shout out to y'all, man. And I appreciate it for real, because we needed the conversation, and we need more men to be emotionally intelligent and aware that they could be manipulators. And that's why real ones quit messing with you. So you can make everything up you want to, you know, that's just what it is. I ain't got time for it.
Yeah, that emotional manipulation is very dangerous, especially when it comes to loving relationships, especially when it comes to violence that we see between the youth that we have today. A lot of that is emotional manipulation. You see it being played out online from time to time. They said this about your mom. They said this about your partner. They did your partner. You ain't finna do nothing back. You ain't finna. No, come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. We seeing people that ain't part of the culture doing interviews with people that is in the culture trying to amp up some drama. Man. So yeah, definitely good job, Spears. Man, I like that subject, man. That was good subject. I'm about to go in here and emotionally manipulate my wife into giving up them draws tonight. So yeah. You know, I'm gonna be so lonely on this road the next couple of days. I don't know how I'm gonna make it.
Come on, boy. Yeah.
You know them groupies be out there.
You know that you see them after the show, they be smiling all in my face and stuff. I don't even want to be.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I wish you well, my brother. I wish you well. I wish you well. I wish you well. But this week, because we had some technical difficulties, I'm not gonna do the Black Business Minute because I gotta get out of here and get headed for work. Flake, did you have a supremely Black person of the week?
Yes, sir, I do. Just give me 1 second and I got it. I gotta put it back up because it closed out on me. This is gonna go out to our Supreme Black Person of the Week is gonna be Miracle, and I am gonna murder. I ain't even gonna try to say this last name. I'll be honest with you. The last name is IZUCHUKWU, and she has become the youngest Black female pilot at 24 years old. She has joined the 7% of women commercial pilots and 1% of Black women commercial pilots. So shout out to Miracle to becoming the youngest overall Black, white, whatever, female commercial pilot of all time. She is our Supremely Black Person of the Week. Shout out to her. She was Nigerian born, but she is a citizen of the United States of America.
Yeah, sound like Ashabukwe or something, but yeah, shout out to
Real
her.
African American.
Yeah, and And it's good to see Flake back messing up them names. So yeah, I feel like we back in. I think we back in motion now. So yeah, we good. But you can go and close it out, Flake. Go ahead.
Hey,
Go ahead, Steve.
hold on real quick. One salute to her, but I want to say this. I don't know if y'all seen this, but Kenya's president is offering all African Americans for the lifetime. So you know how Ghana did it, and it was you could return to Ghana, but it was only a certain period. But Kenya's president's offering all African Americans for a lifetime to come back to the motherland and in Kenya and live there. I don't know if he's giving any like stipends or anything or any moving vouchers or things of that nature, but I know you can move there, you get your citizenship and everything for free and all that other stuff. And is allowing open doors for African Americans to move to Kenya and everything for the duration of, it's a lifetime open door policy, but I don't know if that's really technically during his presidency or if the next president is going to allow that to go on and thing. And then I also don't know how Kenya's governing body is, so I don't know how long they can be in position of president. So I don't know if it's a 4-year term or a 10-year term or whatever the case may be, but the current Kenyan president right now is allowing all African Americans to move to Kenya for free or whatever for the lifetime. It's not just as of right now, we're gonna say during his lifetime. During his lifetime, you can move there or whatever the case may be. And so I know I've done seen many a times throughout the years, people say they want to go back to the motherland, they want to move from America, all this other stuff, they tired of this. Well, Kenya got the door open for y'all and is allowing y'all to do it if you're African American.
Do you research, folks? These African countries ain't as bad off as they be trying to make it seem now. I'm here to tell you, they be looking real nice. You looking real nice on multiple levels. For all our queens out there, put your crown on, took that thing to the side. Let them know you are a queen. For all our kings out there, put your crown on, took that thing to the side, and let them know you are a king. We are supreme to black, and we